So I said this article was going to be translated as a relative pronoun. A relative pronoun, who? Who comforts? It's going to form the beginning of a relative clause. Because we have the apposition. This is, remember, this particle, articular participle, is nominative. Nominative article, nominative participle, active, nominative masculine singular, and then all the way over here you have the nominative masculine singular. So this works an apposition to this who comforts. God who comforts. There's no modification here. None of them are used as an adjective, but rather they are in apposition with each other. We use this in English as well. I don't know, your friend, the womanizer. So you put friend, comma, the womanizer. Here we have God, the comforter. God who comforts. Okay. This is apposition, remember that. God who comforts. Then we have an accusative direct object of tapeinos, humble. Tus tapeinos is the accusative plural. And so the humble ones. This is the mental attitude of humility. And not just the mental attitude of humility, but the system of thinking inside the divine power sphere, which is based on humility. Those tapeinos who comfort the humble. And this is where we left off. So a little bit about humility. I said I was going to form this into a doctrine, and I did not put it down enumerated as an official doctrine, but it is a doctrine. So first of all, humility is a mental attitude. It is the most basic virtue, the basis of everything that is good. Humility is the absence of arrogance, the freedom from arrogance. So, humility and arrogance are diametrically opposite. They're antithetical. There's no such thing as humility being just merely a low social status or financial status. Mean conditions, as people call it. Humility is not a monopoly for those who are poor, is not a monopoly for those who are, indigenous or Indians. Juan Diego. Someone who cannot look at your face, he stares down, he stutters. That is not humility. Shyness is not humility. Just because someone is shy does not mean he is humble or she is humble. You might think it's cute. Sometimes it's stupid. People force it. But it's not humility. Some of the shy people or the quiet people are some of the biggest monsters. The most arrogant. So humility is the absence of arrogance. Is the freedom from arrogance. Shy people are arrogant. Poor people are arrogant. In fact, some of the poor are some of the worst arrogant people. Very arrogant. So humility is the one mental attitude, the one asset, whereby both the believer and the unbeliever can avoid the influence of the cosmic system. Did you hear that? Humility is the way to avoid the influence of the cosmic system. The cosmic system begins with preoccupation with self. Gate 1 of Cosmic 1, that's arrogance. So, humility is the antithesis of that. Humility is orientation to grace, capacity for life, capacity for love, capacity for happiness, capacity for gratitude. It is the subordination to legitimate authority. This is why humility begins as a baby in the home, accepting the authority of the parents. And God has designed this system whether we like it or not. Humility is residing in gate 5 of the divine power sphere. This is why gate 3, which is enforced and genuine humility. And this is the reason why gate 3 is for both for the believer and the unbeliever. The unbeliever is protected by humility. The unbeliever is protected by his virtue towards authority orientation. He is protected from the cosmic system. They are already, because they are unbelievers, they are already in the cosmic system, but the amount of influence of the cosmic system over him is limited by his residence in humility. Might sound like a contradiction, but I'm going to go over the details later on. There are both believers and unbelievers with humility. Unbelievers, there are some who have great humility because they respond to authority. They accept the laws of divine establishment. They really have no illusions about themselves. And there are believers, believe it or not, who do also have humility because of their advancement in the plan of God inside the divine power sphere. Humility is not self-effacement or debasement or self-defacement as an exaggeration, but people do think that defacing yourself, not all the way to defacing yourself, but making yourself look ugly, not putting on makeup, not doing your hair, looking sloppy, not dressing up, going out in PJs, not showering and all that, that's humility. It is not humility. Hippieism is not humility. You got yourself all confused. Neither is self-effacement. Some people force themselves to be so humble through self-effacement means, and they try to be humble, and the next day they endeavor to be humble. I'm very humble, and I so humbly thank you for doing this. And the end result is that they become more arrogant because they've achieved a level of humility according to them. So they produce the exact opposite. Humility is not self-righteousness. It is not asceticism, which in effect produces the opposite of humility, which is arrogance. Humility is a state of honor, of integrity. And in order for you to acquire honor, you need to, first of all, acquire humility and grow on that. Do we have verses? We do have verses. I've prepared myself today. And so, Proverbs chapter 15, verse 33 says, wisdom's instruction. So, no. Yirath, the fear of the Lord, is the instruction of Chokmah. So here we have the fear of the Lord, which is occupation with Christ. Your respect and reverence and honor towards the Lord based on your learning of Bible doctrine. Yirath Yahovah. The fear of the Lord, and then there's no verb here, but it's an ellipsis. Greek is very elliptical. The fear of the Lord is musar, instruction, the instruction of wisdom. Wisdom. It is the instruction of wisdom. It is for the instruction of wisdom. And before kavod, glory, here honor. Lifnei, this is in the face of honor, humility. So before you can have honor or any sort of glory, you need to have humility. Humility inside of the cosmic system. And what inside of the divine power sphere, excuse me. Humility inside of the divine power sphere. There's nothing you can do at all to humble yourself by your own effort, your own endeavor, your own gimmicks, your own talent, your own IQ. The inevitable result of you trying to humble yourself is you're going to become more arrogant. You might appear humble at that moment in a certain area, but you just squeezed out that arrogance to another area. Okay, so Proverbs 11:2. Proverbs 11:2, yes. It says, when arrogance comes, then comes disgrace. Then comes dishonor, dishonor. But with humility, with the humble ones, yes. But with the humble ones is wisdom. So you need to understand that wisdom is related to humility. Humility is the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs 29:23 says, pride brings a person low. A person's arrogance, rather. Here we are. That is here, Gaweth Adam. The arrogance of a person brings him low. This is humiliation. humiliation inside of the cosmic system. You become arrogant, and eventually it leads to humiliation. But the person, the humble spirit, gains honor, not the lowly in spirit. The humble spirit. This is a mental attitude of humility. It gains honor. Proverbs 20. But with a spirit of humility will attain honor. And that's honor inside of the divine power sphere. So, humility expresses itself in many, many ways, many different areas. It's multifaceted. It's clothed by other virtues. Humility is the basis of all other virtues. For example, poise. Poise is the expression of humility amidst pressure. Courage is the expression of humility as well, amidst intense pressure. Poise and courage are two sides of the same coin. One is humility during normal life, while the other is humility during great adversity. Poise and courage. And as a society today, we lack poise. Just see the way people speak, see the way people stand, see how they walk, see how they dress, everything. We do lack poise, and we're also very cowardly people. Humility responds to divine establishment. It responds to authority. Therefore, humility is teachability. If you respond to the authority of your parents, to the authority of your teacher, it leads to teachability. Teachability does require humility. An arrogant person, an arrogant child does not allow himself to be taught anything. You try to teach him something, he starts interrupting you. That's arrogance. The child that cannot allow himself to feel inferior than you. What kind of arrogance are the children suffering now? They do not like to feel inferior than you. Inferior in terms of authority, not inferior in terms of worth. But there they are, and they're trying to one-up you and try to speak over you as a parent. So humility is also teachability. Psalm 25:8. Do we have this one here? And not here. I think we do have it in the Old Testament. For the Psalms are in the Old Testament, yes. And so it says, good and upright, righteous, honorable. Good and honorable is the Lord, Yehovah. Good and honorable is the Lord. Therefore, he instructs sinners in his way. In justice, in his integrity, or righteous, yeah. He guides the humble ones. Consequently, he teaches the humble his way. In the Old Testament, it was the system that they had, the ritual plan of God. In the New Testament, in the dispensation of the church, it is the divine power sphere. Humility is mandated in the Word of God. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 33. Yes, I am prepared. 33 says, the Lord's curse is on the house of the evil. Now, God designed the family and its home to be the first system of authority to orient that little critter, that little monster, the babies. And that's the way he has designed it. But the family that does not enforce authority, that does not teach the child anything, doesn't teach the child principles, respect for authority, is also known as the house of evil. And they are increasing now. They don't have to be evil in terms of looking evil. All they simply have to do is be too nice, not enforce humility, rewarding the child when he must be punished, not punishing the child when he must be punished. And that's already evil. You are creating a little monster. So, the Lord's curse, this is divine discipline, is on the house of evil. But he blesses the home of the righteous, integrity, the home of the righteous. And then verse 34, look what he says here. He mocks proud mockers, No, he makes war against the arrogant. But he gives grace to the humble. Grace to the humble. And where do we find this quotation? We see it in James chapter 4, verse 6. James chapter 4, verse 6. Okay? Grace to the humble. The wise person will inherit honor inside of the system, but fools carry away dishonor.